Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here then hello, my name is Millie and I have been dairy free for nearly 2 years. September 2018 was the last time I ate any dairy. I realised that I really wasn't getting on with it. I was really unwell, so I completely cut out dairy from my diet, and since then I have found alternatives for pretty much everything that I used to love that was dairy. Dairy-free chocolate, pizzas I just have without cheese on now and I'm really enjoying those, ice cream, cheese for in like sandwiches and things I've found alternatives for, but I've never been able to perfect a cheese pasta sauce. I've tried so many different cheeses, I've tried making it with nutritional yeast, I've tried so many different recipes and they've never been quite right. And I used to love a cheesy pasta. That was my favourite meal. I used to eat it 3 times a week. I used to love it. And it's taken me nearly 2 years to perfect a vegan cheese pasta. But I feel I've done it. I have, put in the legwork and now I've got it right. So I will put in the description box down below everything that you'll need for this recipe, but we will be cooking it today and I will be showing you through how to make it, what to do, and the end result. So if you want to see how I make the perfect, easy vegan cheese pasta sauce, then just keep on watching. So I have everything already weighed out. So you need 50 grams of dairy-free butter, 600 grams of plain flour. If you are gluten-free, then I think I've read somewhere you can use arrowroot flour. I don't know what it is. This isn't a gluten-free recipe, but there are alternatives that you can use if you also need it to be gluten-free. You need 300 millilitres of soya milk. I use 60 grams of smoked cheese and 40 grams of normal non-smoked cheese. If you only have one type of cheese, then just use 100 grams of it. You need 1 red onion chopped up as fine as you can, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon of easy garlic. I use this one that is just puree. I wouldn't use one that is chopped because you need it to be smooth. So you want like a garlic puree, something that's smooth, or if you have one of those things where you press the garlic through and it makes it smooth, then you can just use fresh garlic. And a handful of frozen peas, more if you like frozen peas, less, you don't have to include them at all, but I do like that. And then whatever pasta you are making. So this recipe will make enough for, I would say, 3 like lunches or 2 like evening meals. So if it's a larger meal, then it makes 2 meals, or if it's a smaller like midday meal, then it'll make 3, which is perfect for me. So I have a portion, Phil has a portion, and then I have a portion the next day. So that is everything that you need. You'll also need a pan for making the sauce and a pan for boiling your pasta, a wooden spoon and a whisk, and that's all you'll need. So I've just moved the camera down so that you can see what I'm doing, but you want to start by melting your butter. So you want to start by melting your butter. Mine is all melted in there now, and then with your wooden spoon you want to chuck in all of the flour. I do this off the heat, so chuck that in there and give it a stir, and it'll all come together in like a ball. Oh, made a mess already. So as you can see, that's all come together in a ball and it's fairly solid, but you don't want any flour sort of around the edges. You want to make sure it's all incorporated into that ball. And then while that is still off the heat, you want to add, I would say maybe 1/3 of the milk. It doesn't have to be exact, but add in some of your milk. Still with your wooden spoon, you just want to stir that in gently until all of that milk is combined into the flour. You do have to be careful with soya milk not to do it too quickly. So only do it on a low heat. I have mine on level 3 out of 6, but you don't want it to be too high or the soya milk will separate and ruin your sauce and you'll have to start again. So once that's mostly incorporated, I switch over to a whisk at this point. It just makes it easier to like mix it all in. So this is what it looks like at this stage. It's still really thick, but you can see that all of that flour is sort of absorbing the milk. So once there aren't any more lumps, then you can add more milk. Back on the heat. And stir again. So at this stage, this is all mixed in now, but I'm going to leave it for a few minutes, still stirring it, because this will thicken as the heat gets through it, and then you'll know how much more milk you need to put in. So that's had a few minutes on the heat to thicken up, and you can see that it's really thick now. So that obviously needs more milk in it. So I'm going to pour in what I have left. And again, back on the heat until all of that's combined. So that's what it's looking like at this stage. It is getting thicker and it will get a little bit thicker as you continue to cook it. I can feel that this is starting to thicken up now. It's definitely an arm workout, all of this whisking. So this is what it's looking like now. It's definitely thicker. This is sort of the consistency that I want. So at this stage, I'm going to chuck in the red onions. You can use white, I just prefer red. And I'm going to let them cook off for a minute before I put anything else in. And of course, I missed the bowl. Also, if you find that your sauce is getting a little bit thick, I think mine is getting a little bit too thick for what I want, you want to add in a little bit more milk. At this stage, I just want to let it sit for just a couple of minutes, just so that those onions can sort of soften in the heat of the sauce a little bit before I add anything else. So while that's doing that, I'm just going to clean up a little bit. So this has had maybe 5-6 minutes of just sitting, and I've been stirring it so that it doesn't boil, because then the milk will separate. Just stirring it every now and again, and I can feel that those onions are starting to soften down a little bit. So at this stage, you want to add in your cheese. So I have the sliced Violife cheese, and I've just cut it up into bits because we can't actually get blocks of cheese anywhere in our city. So we just get these sliced and I chop it up for this. So I put in all of that, so that's 40 grams of the cheese, and I let that melt in before I add anything else. So all of that cheese is now melted in, so I'll add the rest of it. And once you add the cheese in as well, it does tend to thicken it quite a bit. So I would just keep your soya milk out so that you can keep topping it up if you need to, because it does thicken the more it cooks. And once all of that cheese is incorporated, I just turn this down to 2 so that it doesn't catch on the bottom and burn, but so that it keeps hot, so that all of that cheese keeps melting in. Also, at this stage, if you're eating it straight away, you want to get your pasta cooking, so I will do that. So all of that cheese is melted in now. You can see the lumps of onion, but other than that, it is a smooth sauce. But it still looks a bit pale, and it won't have that much flavour in it at this point, apart from the cheesy flavour, but you want more flavour than that. So you want a teaspoon of easy garlic and 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika. And I will try and do this so that you can see, but that smoked paprika is there, and as you mix it in, it changes the colour, so now it looks like a proper cheddar sauce. Obviously it adds the flavour as well, like the flavour of smoked paprika in this sauce is amazing. I think that was the defining factor for this sauce, but the colour just makes it look so convincing because we eat with our eyes before we eat with our mouths, so that really is the most amazing colour. And it starts to smell now like a proper cheese pasta sauce. So when your pasta is about 5 minutes away from being done, you want to just check on your sauce just to see if it needs any more soya milk, or if you want it a little bit thicker. You can decide at this point what you want to do. So if you want it thicker, you can turn it up but keep on stirring it, but you can turn it up and then that'll thicken it. If you want it a little bit thinner, if it's too thick, then you can add more milk in. I personally like it really thick so that it properly coats all of the pasta, so I'm happy with how mine is. So like I said, there's about 5 minutes left on the pasta. I'm going to chuck in about 3/4 of a mugful of frozen peas. And at this stage, you don't want to agitate it too much, you don't want mushy peas, so I just stir it in and let the heat work through the peas so that they aren't frozen anymore. So the pasta's done, the sauce is done, but the proof is in the tasting. So this is how the sauce looks. Thick and cheesy and delicious. And that is the finished thing. Ta-da! I mean, it's not pretty food, it's not glamorous food, it's not going to make you thin overnight, but what it is going to do is make you believe that you are eating cheese pasta like what you've always had, and it is such a convincing sort of texture. Like, it's even a little bit stringy. I just love it. So that is my easy peasy cheese sauce recipe. Let me know if you try it out as well. It really is so simple to do and it's so delicious. So let me know if you try it out, and I hope it's just as easy for you as well. If you like this video, please do give it a big thumbs up, that really helps me out a lot. And if you want to see more from me and more recipes and more general life ramblings, then please hit the subscribe button down below so that you get a notification every time I upload a new video. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye!